Can't wait. Emma Handy on the left, Harlan Fear on the right.
I got something for you to reflect on.
Yeah.
That card going to print.
Yeah.
Let's reflect on that for a little bit. While we're in such a reflecting mood.
Yeah. What do we? When does it rotate? Soon, hopefully.
No, I think it's another. I think it's one more block.
Oh,
and
thank
then
goodness. Whew, good. I just wanted, creature decks that tap out on turn 4 to be even worse.
Right. Constructed Magic is already too filled with 4 and 5 mana creatures that you have to untap with to do anything good. We need to make sure those cards definitely don't show up. It's just Bahamut Dejins and Shivan Dragons all over the place all the time. Yeah. So we just need to make sure that we have answers to that and everything else at the same time.
At uncommon.
Yeah, at uncommon.
At uncommon.
Not even moving boosters with it. Can't even tell me you're trying to make your bottom line or whatever. Don't even have that excuse.
Well, we'll get to see some of those cash out again here in just a moment. Cannot wait. We'll find out who's on the play soon enough. If you take a look here behind the two players, starting to see some of those MTG jerseys showing up.
Yep, you see to the left of Emma there, Danny Jessup. To the right of Harlan Fear, you see Jim Davis, and I believe Kevin Jones.
Oh, it's the daddy.
To the left of the screen, to the immediate right of Harlan, all on backup feature matches.
All right. Well, we get ready here for game number 1 in just a sec. Time to scry here for Handy. Top card going to stay on top, I think. Yes. Yes. Here we go. Prairie Stream to start. 2 lands away from Reflector Mage. Evolving Wilds here for Handy.
2 lands and 1 opposing creature.
Handy's going to search up a land. And for Harlan, he's made a giant error by playing a creature in Sylvan Advocate.
Well, the upshot is that Fear casting the Sylvan Advocate probably compels Handy to cast a creature of her own to attack or block or what have you, and then Reflector Mage gets its opportunity to shine.
We'll go back Handy's way.
I'm not trying to spoil the outcome here for those of you who haven't seen the show before.
Whoa. Get those lands back. Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Z.
Emma knows. She knows.
Get those lands out of here.
It's okay.
Duskwatch Recruiter to the play.
Emma quickly corrected herself. That is all you can ask for.
Big mistake, Handy.
Yep.
Playing a creature.
Yep. You fool.
In for 2 Vigilance. Down to 18.
Although Fear's leftover is not great here, just lands in a Dramoka's command. Going to establish some tempo, but this is the kind of game where, from Handy's side, a collected company could catch her all the way back up by itself.
Yep. Here comes the Plains. Oh.
Okay.
That's interesting. A Reflector Mage.
Yeah.
This will be targeting the Sylvan Advocate. Pass the turn back. Spell Queller of the draw. Oh, yes.
Love it.
And pass. Handy will draw.
And that's not even a free attack because he gets attacked on the way back now.
Could just end up taking 2.
Yeah.
This could be a little awkward. Attack for... Oh, no. All right, this is officially awkward.
No, that's great. It makes the bluff that much more compelling. there were real costs on the way back. Anyone can bluff when it's free. It's like when it's a vigilance creature or whatever. Anyone can run that play. Just took 2. That's great.
Could matter down the road.
That is gutsy.
Yep. Setting up something much larger.
Yeah.
Let's go with that. Tireless Tracker the draw.
Good for him.
Yeah. Harlan does have a Prairie Stream in hand as well, so land will not be a problem this turn. Three mana. Looks like it might be the tracker.
I think that Harlan probably wanted to, Spell Queller if possible. Held up Spell Queller, but Tireless Tracker plus Sylvan Advocate this turn is just too juicy of a line.
That's worth taking.
Yep. And now he might alternatively just decide to Dromoka's command instead.
Spellcaller did take care of the Tireless Tracker, at least for now. You'll see on Handy's side, she's got her 3 lands. She's used for the Spell Queller, and then a face-down black card. That's from the Evolving Wild Surge. Just shortcutting here because, as we've seen a couple times this weekend, like this deck does take a little while to close.
Yes.
So you want to shortcut as much as you reasonably can to finish your games.
People have gotten in the habit of shortcutting a lot in Legacy over the years. As we've covered more and more tournaments, we see a lot more shortcutting. There isn't the same density of shuffling going on in Standard, but players are starting to pick up on that too.
Dromoka's command will help to take care of the Spell Queller, which means the Tireless Tracker is back, and Harlan's Reflector Mage is a 3/4. So Handy searched up a Plains, chill and tap and draw. Checklist card, looks to be a Jace. And beatdowns. No block from the Tireless Tracker, and just pass the turn back will Handy. 5 mana at the ready. Fear will play a Prairie Stream very quickly. Clue token on the way for the Tireless Tracker. And now we know about the Sylvan Advocate from earlier. Beatdown time. Oh, Archangel Avacyn strategy. That's a good Magic card.
Very quick block there from Handy, trying to swallow up the Tireless Tracker before too much damage gets done.
Yeah. It's funny, Archangel Avacyn, I don't want to say it shouldn't take people by surprise, but in a spot like that, you think that Handy probably has Collected Company,
right,
and then he gets the opportunity to Spell Queller it, but Archangel Avacyn is just way better in that spot than Collected Company would be.
And these lists, we've seen 0, 1, 2 copies in the main deck, so it's a hard card to play around, especially in contrast to Collected Company, where you know they have 4 copies, but...
Yeah, Handy only with 1 copy of Archangel Avacyn, but it was a good one there.
I think Archangel Avacyn has taken a little bit of a hit because of the prevalence of Ojutai's command. Doesn't line up the best there. And even in some of these copies of Bant Collecting Company, we see 1 or 2 copies of Ojutai's command, but still has its spots of being awesome for sure. And Handy got one of those spots last turn.
Yeah, it's just an awesome card. So to be able to see it do something like that, not too surprising. But it's just not a card I don't think you can play a ton of just because of how the deck is built.
Right.
You know?
Yep. And in a lot of matchups, just spinning Dustwatch Recruiter or activating Lumbering Falls is a more powerful thing to be doing than casting 5-mana spells.
For sure. Here's Dustwatch Recruiter. Speak of the devil and shall appear. All right, crack the clue, draw a card here, will Harlan. He'll untap and draw now. Picked him another copy of Prairie Stream. Sylvan Advocate Spell Queller over there.
But right now, nothing to really handle the skies, and that's where Fear is losing this game.
And we've talked about that so many times from these kind of Bant Company decks and human decks and all that stuff. Flying is so very important in these matchups. And being able to have it leads to a lot of victories. And right now, Emma Handy has flying on check. That said, Harlan with another 4/5 there in Sylvan Advocate. So that's one card that Archangel Avacyn does not line up very well against. Now there's a Jace. Here's an activation of Dustwatch Recruiter. That'll resolve. Handy with the whiff. She'll untap.
Noteworthy here that Harlan has 0 copies of Archangel Avacyn in his own deck, so he can't trade with this card very effectively game 1. Not to say that he's beat necessarily. I mean, again, he can just outsize Handy with Sylvan Advocate and more land drops and so forth, but he doesn't really have a great long-term answer to this card.
And down to 6 goes Fear. There's an Evolving Wilds. That's line number 6 for Handy. That's important for the Sylvan Advocate she's about to cast. We'll see if it will resolve. Again, Fear does have a Spell Queller in hand, and there is the Spell Queller. So that'll resolve. Is there a follow-up? There is in Jace, Vryn's Prodigy.
I believe Handy right now with nothing in the graveyard to flash back on the following turn.
2 Evolving Wilds and a Spell Queller down there. That's it.
And there could be a window here for Fear to flip his own copy of Jace, flash back the Dromoka's command, and take care of Avacyn.
Yep.
At that point, he's got a commanding position in this game. Now, he's only got 3 cards in the graveyard, so the question is, can he come up with an extra one on top of the loot?
Well, he's going to start by looting. So it doesn't look like it's going to be this turn. It'd have to be next turn, if it happens at all. So you can have sideboards or what? Yeah, counter-strike. Any good attacks to be had here? Fear with a Duskwatch Recruiter and just going to pass the turn back. So let's go Handy's way.
The problem is that Fear cannot afford to allow Handy to flip the Archangel Avacyn, because that is just lethal.
Here's an activation. Draw a card. Picked up a Dromoka's command.
And Dromoka's command may just do it here. Allows Handy to clear out the 1 flying blocker and trigger the Archangel Avacyn.
There's a flip. Yep, Dromoka's command in combination with Jace should do it.
Yeah,
Cast it twice.
Right. It's hard for this to go wrong.
Maybe the perfect find. So there's counter plus
she can just put 2 counters on that.
Yeah, that's it. That's all it takes, yeah. Just
Yep.
turn into a 6/6 Vigilance creature, and that's going to do it. Emma Handy's going to win game number 1 here over Harlan Fear. Bant Company Mirror goes to the player on the left to start, number 29 on our Player of the Year leaderboard. Number 12 going to try to even it up here in Harlan Fear. We take a look at the sideboards. I have to imagine they're going to look pretty similar as we start with Harlan and his 4 Lambhold Pacifist, 2 Declaration Stone, 2 Tireless Tracker, 2 Nissa Vassal Seer, 2 Tragic Arrogance, a Notice Command, a Tameo Field Researcher, and an Archangel Avacyn.
I think you want your 2 copies of Nissa here, the Tireless Trackers, the copy of Archangel Avacyn, and then Tragic Arrogance seems to be the most potent card in the matchup. You know, the board clogs down. It's a slow creature matchup, and Tragic Arrogance can cement your position when you're ahead and catch you from very, very losing positions.
Other side of things here from Emma Handy. It's 3 Lambhold Pacifist, 2 Nissa Vassal Seer of her own, a Tireless Tracker, a Tragic Arrogance, 2 Negate, 2 Aerial Volley. Very popular card this week, and along with 2 Declaration Stone, another copy of Archangel Avacyn, and a Stasis Snare.
I think the Avacyn, her own copy of Tragic Arrogance. I think she wants the copies of Negate in this matchup as well, Fight Over Collected Company, and the Tragic Arrogance is on the other side of the table, and the copy of Tireless Tracker I think is well suited here alongside the Nissas.
It gives you an idea what both players are working with here for round number 7 of action. So they will sideboard, get ready to rock and roll. While they do that, we're going to talk regionals, as we will so many times this weekend, because we are looking to break some records for our regional championship during Season 2. Now, Season 1 of regionals was very well received. Season 2, I know a lot of people are a very big fan of this playmat. Now, this is the hot pursuit as that dragon is chasing down that human and that goblin. The goblin's name is Ugh, not again, stealing a dragon egg, and you are going to get this token, of course, the 1/1 goblin. When you do sign up for regionals, do keep in mind, Patrick, of course, that it's the first 200 players that do sign up for regionals that will get access to this playmat, free and exclusive playmat and token for the first 200 players on August 6th at our Season 2 regionals. There's also cash and prizes that are involved here with our regional championship. First place, $1,200, 20 SCG points, and a qualification for our Season 2 Invitational in New Jersey. And as far as locations are concerned, there's a bunch of them, even in Denver and Canada.
We're international, baby.
Right?
First time Calgary, Alberta, along with locations all around the United States. You can go to go.cerseigames.com/regionals. Find the venue closest to you. Head over to Regional Championships. Remember, first 200 people to register. Get that playmat and that token. I have one from the Winter Regional Championship.
Nice. Well done. Can appreciate that.
Stuff somewhere in my car right now. Don't know exactly where.
Haven't unpacked the car yet?
Have not.
So do you just drive the car to and from work just packed up?
No, right now I'm staying with Patrick Chapin.
Okay.
And I just carpool with him.
Okay, fair enough.
My car is parked in his garage.
Hey, whatever works.
Yeah, I don't know how much longer that's going to work for, but it's working for now, you know?
We're going to learn a little bit more about Harlan Fear right now, the player who does not have that long of hair anymore. Member of Team Next Ridge Games, is a 21-year-old from Charlottesville, Virginia. 3 open top 8s with 1 victory. I remember that one a couple of years ago. Beat Shaheen Sarani in the finals with Jeskai Ascendancy. back when Jeskai tokens became a thing in Standard. He donates his hair after it reaches a certain length. A former wrestler in high school and a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fan is Harlan Fear, as he is still trying to climb his way up the SCG Tour Player of the Year leaderboard. I know he wants to qualify for the Players' Championship this year, and he's in pretty good shape, but he's really going to have to battle it out through the rest of this season and the next one.
Yeah, I mean, there are only so many slots to go around for a lot of people who are talented and trying very hard. So some people are going to miss, even with a lot of effort, even with a lot of accomplishments. But Harlan has focused on this year, put up very good results, and hopefully for him, we'll end up in the Players' Championship.
Yeah. But he's got some tough competition both across the table from him and around him right now. Again, you take a look in the background, you see Jim Davis, that's the defending Players' Champion. He'll be in Roanoke at the end of the year. Kevin Jones is looking to get back there this year for the third year in a row. And then Danny Jessup, he was there last year. He wants to go back, and in a perfect world, he gets to join his brother. So we'll find out just who's going to be at the Players' Championship at the end of the year. Should be a lot of fun to watch that tournament, and the players just kind of make their way there over the course of the year.
The Players' Championship is great. I love covering that tournament, but the build-up over the course of 12 months, it's a lot of fun to follow, a lot of fun to watch, a lot of fun to cover.
Yeah, and we already got some players qualified, as we know. You see Max McVitie, he won our Season 1 Invitational. Jeff Hoagland, Jerry Thompson, Andrew Tenjum, they were our top points earners during Season 1. And there's your defending champion, Jim Davis. Players' Championship, December 17th and 18th. The Star City Game Center in Roanoke, Virginia. 16 players, $50,000. Going to be announcing the formatting of the Players' Championship this year very soon as well. So,
and I know nothing about it, as usual. In the dark about every announcement.
That's right.
I find out when you find out.
That's right.
You meaning the viewer, not you meaning Cedric. You know all the stuff ahead of time.
It's fun to keep you in the dark.
Yeah, you get the honest reaction.
That's right. Emma going to take a mulligan. Looks like Harlan's going to keep his 7. But one of the things about the Players' Championship, always a really competitive tournament, but just a lot of fun. I think for the players and for everyone to watch, too.
Yeah. A lot of drama in both years. You know, we're going into year 3 now of having this event. In the last 2, the camaraderie of the players during the event has always stood out to me as well.
Yeah.
It's competition, but they also understand it's a year's worth of work and tournaments and so forth. And everyone's playing some really high-stress, high-leverage matches over the course of 2 days. And people are kind of celebrating with each other and mourning with each other the whole way through. So it's a great event. I love being a part of it.
See if Handy finds a 6-card hand. Nope. Down to 5 she's going to go. Now, Eclectic Company is the kind of card that can undo a mulligan pretty quickly, so not out of this yet. Same can be said for Duskwatch Recruiter.
Yeah, there's a lot of cards that just can catch you back up. Jace, Nissa, Collected Company, Duskwatch Recruiter. 5 cards stinks, obviously. It's a 5-card hand, but this deck is pretty protected from mulligans.
Yeah. So in a moment, we'll see if Handy is able to find a 5-card hand that she is happy with. Again, remember, 9 rounds today, 6 tomorrow. We do come back bright and early, 10 a.m. East Coast time. And eventually, we'll make our way to the elimination rounds. Crown champion here, $5,000. Whole bunch of SCG points. An invite to our Season 2 Invitational in New Jersey is what's on the line here this weekend. But also, whatever kind of makes the elimination rounds and wins this tournament is going to set the paces for next weekend in Baltimore and that Pro Tour taking place in Sydney 2 weeks from now.
And I think Baltimore is going to be a big step up in technology from week 1.
Yeah.
People get to see what's going on. You know, week 1, you're in the weeds a little bit. You don't necessarily know what other people are going to be playing. It's very easy to default to just playing a well-established deck from the previous format. But I think Baltimore will see some step forwards.
A Canopy Vista for Handy to start. She's on 5. Strider top card to the bottom for Harlan. It's a Sylvan Advocate. Draw step was a Reflector Mage. Handy's going to play a creature. Those lands. Yep, there it is. No lands in front, no creatures on the battlefield.
Right.
That's kind of the rule.
Magic the Gathering.
There's an attack for 2.
Cast a creature, put it back in your hand, and you can cast it next turn maybe.
If you're lucky. Lamphold, Pacifist. We'll head back Andy's way. She'll draw. Looks like a copy of Declaration of Stone. It's a land in Evolving Wilds. Mana Base's Band Company deck, it works, but ugh.
We've seen it play off balance. It's been very rare that the deck has just been missing colors of mana, though sometimes it hasn't been able to play all of its spells efficiently.
There's a Declaration in Stone on the Pacifist. Going to leave the Advocate around for now, it appears. And no good attack here for Handy, so she'll just pass the turn back over to Fear. Spell Queller the draw here for Harlan. You have My Coast and Eclectic Company. Top 6. Harlan will get 2. Landhold Pacifist and a Sylvan Advocate. One of the poorer Eclectic Companies I've seen today, but still perfectly fine.
Yeah, I mean, right now with Handy on 5 cards, makes some sense for Harlan just to try to get the game over as fast as possible. No guarantee that he's going to be able to resolve the Eclectic Company if he waits until Handy's turn, so might as well main phase it. Hopefully you hit a Reflector Mage, but failing that, still get 2 sizable threats on the battlefield.
An island from Evolving Wilds is on Handy's battlefield now. She begins her 4th turn. This is Anissa, Vastwood Seer. A trigger to search for a forest. The forest will be the play for the turn, and Handy will pass the turn back. It's a Canopy Vista. And it looks like maybe Advocates will be coming into the red zone here. Relatively safe attacker. There's a double block. This could go poorly.
Well, Handy can't just keep taking these shots and not blocking, playing around everything. Again, she's on 5 cards, so she's got to make some risky plays here to try to stabilize things a bit.
ML Pacifist will transform. It's a 4/4 radio attack now. Handy with a Tireless Tracker, but I think she's expecting this to get Spell Quellered. But it doesn't look like it will. There's a Prairie Stream that gets to enter the battlefield untapped because of the Forest and Island that are on the battlefield. And there's a clue, and pass it back.
Interesting to see. No use of Spell Queller there. Harlan probably respecting Dramoka's command would be my guess.
Mm-hmm. Tireless Tracker the draw off the clue there from Fear. He'll draw for the turn. It's a Canopy Vista. That's land number 6 for the Advocate. So it's a 4/5 now. And Harlan and Fear treading very carefully with the Spell Queller.
Well, Dramoka's command is exactly the kind of card that can catch Handy up in this game if Fear gets sloppy. That was a very, very conservative no Spell Queller there. But I think Fear probably feels like he has a substantial advantage as long as he avoids getting blown out by Dramoka's command.
Sacrifice the clue. Will Handy. Draw a card. Tireless Tracker. Now a 4/3. See if there's any blocking to be done here. The Lambo Butcher is a 4/4, so in theory, there's a block to be had.
But you can see on 5 cards versus 7, it still feels like, Handy is not desperately behind in terms of raw resources.
Yeah, it feels like we have a game.
Yeah, she's generating up 2 for 1. She's made her land drop. She has the right colors of mana. She's functioning.
Yep. There's still an Advocate. Fear's last 2 cards, or at least 2 of the last couple of cards he has, Spell Queller and Reflector Mage. Evolving Wilds in hand here for Handy. Looks like it might begin with a Jace, perhaps.
Yeah, Jace allows her to still hold up Spell Queller here. She drew Collected Company, but firing that into all the open mana that Fear has is very dangerous.
And it's kind of weird because we're watching this game, right, and I think Harlan could have been more aggressive with Reflector Mage and Spell Queller, but it doesn't mean necessarily what he's doing is wrong.
No, and now he has 6 mana available next turn. A lot of his lands have entered the battlefield tapped, but he finally has 6 mana next turn. So then he has lines like Reflector Mage with Spell Queller backup. And I think that's trying to set up those lines are a lot safer than just firing your threats into open mana.
Oh, here's an attack. The Butcher and the Advocate are going to come across again. Handy will shortcut and search up a land with the Evolving Wilds again, saving time. She does search up a Plains. Here's a Spell Queller. Getting virtually nothing off of it. Maybe getting the opportunity to block well. Now, Fear might be thinking, I'll Spell Queller your Spell Queller. I don't know. We'll see. All right, here's a double block.
I think that long term, this is just not a solution to anything that, Fear's basic game plan so far is allowing that kind of trade. That's totally fine. I think Fear is trying to protect himself from ruin at this point and playing very conservatively.
There's a land for a clue.
Like, yes, he could have fought over that Spell Queller, but it makes a lot more sense just to have a turn like this push way ahead and still have the Spell Queller left over in hand should something like Dromoka's Command surface.
Or Collected Company.
Right.
Yep. Here is a main phase Collected Company. Well, there's at least one Reflector Mage. Tameo in there, even though you can't select that one. And Sylvan Advocate going to go along with the Reflector Mage, which means there will be a trigger. Something will be bounced here in just a moment. He'll take care of the Sylvan Advocate. And Handy will just pass the turn back. Over to Fear, who will untap those 7 lands. Take a draw step now. Picked up a Plains. Play the Plains. Get a clue. Thank you very much, Tireless Tracker. Draw a card, pick up a Plains from sacrificing the clue. Getting a little bogged down. Harlan with not a lot to do this turn.
But also not in a huge rush. Again, still has Spell Queller as protection. A clue. He'll be able to redeploy the Sylvan Advocate next turn.
Well, what gets a little bit interesting now is that Handy, she has that Jace, can redeploy this turn. Spell Queller would eat that, but that'd be the best that really realistically Spell Queller can do. I guess Harlan has the advantage in the fact that he's got more life to work with, and he's got Tireless Tracker going. So in that regard, I think he's a little bit ahead in this game. But I don't think that he's so far ahead that Emma Handy can't come back.
Right.
There's Jace. There's the Spell Queller.
Yeah, and Harlan can allow this to resolve now with the Collected Company in Handy's graveyard.
Yavimaya is the land. And Sylvan Advocate could start to feel a little frisky, but it's just going to hang out for now.
Yeah, with the light totals at 20-6, I think it is better for Handy to probably hang back. Although there's no guarantee, I guess, the Sylvan Advocate gets to block effectively next turn, because with one more clue sacrificed, the Tireless Tracker is larger than the Sylvan Advocate.
Collected Company. Top 6. Let's see what Fear can find. Reflector Mage and Nissa, those would count as hits.
Yup.
That's for sure. Emma Handy says no more. And truth be told, even though she's at 6, that game might play a few more turns. But I think just kind of conceding this one, moving on, is good because time is of the essence here.
Yeah. the game may not be over that turn, but she is not getting back into the game.
No, it seems way too tough to come back from. So both players are going to take a look at the sideboards here. We've already gone over them once before, but I do ask you think anything's going to change?
Not really. I don't think the games are so fast that there's a significant play-draw bias to the way you sideboard. I think the cards that are good just stay in, and the cards that aren't good don't come back in.
All right, both players are probably going to shuffle pretty quickly here as they've taken a look at the sideboard. I think Emma's going to take another look real quick. So it gives us a moment to talk about the StarCityGames.com YouTube page where you can watch the replays of this tournament and a whole bunch more.
Yeah, a lot of content up on the page at youtube.com/StarCityGames. Lots of content is loaded up there, including Versus Series archives, Premium archives, SCG Tour archives, and some content that's exclusive to the YouTube page, such as unboxing. Again, go to youtube.com/StarCityGames, become a subscriber today for free, and get notified when new content is uploaded to the page.
Almost 100,000 subscribers on our YouTube page, and when that happens, a little something special is going to happen. Just a little spoiler alert there.
Okay.
Now, I know you don't know what it is because I don't tell you anything.
No idea.
Yeah, I don't tell you anything, but once we get there, a little something sweet's going to happen. I think you guys will enjoy it at home. So you're ready here for game number 3. Round number 7 here from Columbus. Cedric Phillips, Patrick Sullivan. We are in the booth bringing you all the action all weekend long. Well, we've got Nick Miller on the sideboard. He's doing your deck techs. He's picking your feature matches. He's also doing your player interviews. You can learn a little bit more about Christopher Giuliano by heading over to our coverage page on StarCityGame.com. It's been a fun start to Eldritch Moon. We've seen a lot of new cards, but, the one that may have been the best all weekend long from Eldritch Moon is Spell Queller, at least to me so far.
Yeah, as I've mentioned several times during the broadcast so far, would get my vote for most powerful standard level card in the set. Happens to slot in very naturally into Collected Company strategies in a variety of ways. And so not a huge surprise to see Band Company make up the predominance of the top tables.
Yeah, I think it was an easy deck to choose coming in, and also with how much talk there was about how much worse green-white got, I think a lot of players just steered away from that deck and said, I'm just going to play this one.
We've seen a little bit of green-white so far. Andrew Boswell playing it, Eric Rill. But definitely compared to the last few months of Standard Opens, a lot less than we have become accustomed to.
Yeah, for sure.
I believe this is Handy's now 4th mulligan of the match.
Why keep 7 when you can start with 6?
6, 5, and now 6 again.
Yes. Did win game 1 on a wall.
Yep. And even if you go back to what happened there in that second game, it's not like Andy didn't have enough resources to get off the ground and then lost. Harlan was able to have an aggressive draw, and Handy couldn't quite manage the board well enough. So this deck mulligans just fine. It's rarely going to come down to, someone was just mulligan too much and just didn't have enough resources to get off the ground, and they died with 2 lands in play. That does not happen very frequently with this deck.
Yeah, it is pretty rare. Oh, Handy will take a look at 6. All right, good enough. Time to scry. Top card's going somewhere. And there's a Prairie Stream. Let's play game number 3. Prairie Stream for each player to start. You have My Coast. 0 for 3 with the lands. This has got to be, what, a bannable offense?
She has quickly fixed it each time.
Yeah. Transformation complete. Not so quick. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's okay.
Bannable.
If I had my way about it, yeah. But I'm not the one in charge of DCI policy. So she simply gets to correct her battlefield, and we move on with life.
Okay, fair enough. Let's see what we have here. A Tireless Tracker with 2 mana, thanks to the transformation of the Duskwatch Recruiter, making things a little bit cheaper, along with a clue.
Do you know the name of a flip Duskwatch Recruiter?
Do you?
No, it's like a Kellen Howell something or other, I think.
It's Kellen Howler Horde, I believe.
Okay.
I wouldn't bet my life on it, but I'm feeling pretty... Kellen Horde Howler.
Okay.
Bang.
Yeah.
Say it good. Reflector Mage. I know the name of that one.
Right.
I do know the full
name. We have
name.
become intimately familiar with that card.
Yep. That one a no. Draw a card. In with the Advocate. I love it. See, now this is the free bluff.
Right.
You talked about. This one's easy.
Which is fine. And, you know, it's good that Emma made the play, certainly.
No.
But it's not as great as Harlan Fear's almost no upside, very tangible downside bluff attack from game number 1. They both have their place.
They do.
You know?
They do. Here's a transformation. Callan Howler. Callan Horde Howler. There it is. It's back. Here's Tireless Tracker, Prairie Stream. Looks like Bounding Crisis is going to tap down that tracker. Going to keep some beatdowns going here. Prairie Stream the draw here for Handy. Neither player able to cast Eclectic Company just yet. Here come the beatdowns. Oh, yeah. There's your block. 6 damage will come across. Two mana for the tracker. Prairie Stream, I believe, enters the battlefield tapped because of 1 basic, yes?
Yep.
Another clue. Follow-up. Advocate.
The mirror match is pretty interesting because sometimes it's just a battle over, you know, who can generate the most powerful stuff and accumulate the most card advantage.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes people just get beat up. If
Sometimes it's this.
If your draw's on the slow side, you know, it's a lot of 3-power 2 and 3-power 2 drops and 3-power 3 drops and bouncing effects and Dramoka's Command. Like, you can just get beat up.
Well, here's a main phase Collected Company from Harlan. Reflector Mage is going to bounce something, and Lambhole Pacifist will come down. And Tireless Tracker got sent away. Back over to Handy. Plains. That's land 5. Almost there, Sylvan Advocate. For now, let's crack a clue. Draw a card. Well, there's land 6 in the forest. So the Advocates will be 4/5s. Not this turn, but the next one. And there is the forest. And here is a Jace. Doesn't appear like any real good attacks to be had here. And now things are getting gummed up a little bit as we head back over to Harlan Fear. Another Collected Company is a draw, so going to cast this one. Top 6. Now, one thing to note, should take a look at these top 6. I think it's only going to hit 1. Yeah, and a Lambhole Pacifist. Both his Archangel Avacens are at the bottom now.
Yep. Still opportunity for this deck to shuffle via Evolving Wilds, and if the game really comes down, then Dustwatch Recruiter can spin you over. But, yes, noteworthy that the Archangel Avacens are on the bottom right now.
That card played such a huge role for Handy in game number 1. Just having a large flyer makes a world of difference. And for Harlan Fear, that might be off the table now. It's an activation of Jace here by Handy. Time to draw and discard. Goodbye Plains. Here's 4 mana. Oh, is it Tameo time? Oh, yeah.
All right.
Here we go. Let's take a look at this Planeswalker. There's land 6 as well.
So pretty exciting here.
Tameo does a lot. Now, the +1, you choose up to 2 target creatures until your next turn. Those 2 Sylvan Advocates that Emma targeted. If they deal damage, combat damage, don't have to do damage to a player, just any combat damage, you get to draw a card. So now Harlan's hand is pretty forced to do this.
Yes, he has to just block and trade. Emma gets 2 cards for her trouble and gets to run back the same thing next turn.
Mm-hmm. So both the Pacifists down. She gets to draw 2 cards. Nissa among them. Now Battlefield gets cleaned up a little bit there.
But Handy is definitely happy to attrition off as much as possible as long as she keeps Tameo in play.
Mm-hmm. Actually, is a card that Emma Handy did spoil.
Sweet.
Yeah, for Gathering Magic. So you got to believe she's a big fan of this one. Collected Company number 3. See how this one goes. A Reflector Mage. And a Nissa.
And that's a shuffle here to get the Avacyn's back into the deck.
Actually pretty important. Bounding Krasis, get out of here. And search for a forest thanks to Nissa.
But pretty impressive so far. Fear with 3 Collected Companies to Handy's 0. And the game looks to be at about parity. And Handy might even be slightly ahead at this point.
Yeah, we're in a pretty close game, that's for sure. Another clue here, thanks to the forest and the tireless tracker being on the battlefield. Now here's some good attacks. We'll see where these creatures are going, if they're going towards Tamiyo or if they're going towards Emma.
At 17, I would imagine these are going at Tamiyo.
Yeah.
For some sort of block here.
Yep. All of them are going to Tamiyo. Yep, trade with the tireless tracker. Tamiyo's going to fall down to 1. Still gets an activation. Sacrifice a clue, draw a card. Time to untap. And now it's time to draw. In just a moment. Yep. A forest. So now Handy's got to rebuild a board. Well, one thing she has not found this game is Collected Company. Fears cast 3 of those to Handy's 0. So she's got some catch-up to do here. Going to start with a Nissa. And we'll also play Tireless Tracker and then play the forest that she searches up to get a clue and transform the Nissa Vastwood Seer into Nissa Sage Animist.
This is a really good setup here. Handy can go ahead and flip this over, make a 4/4, plus the Tamiyo on her 2 large threats. And again, attacking next turn becomes a pretty dodgy proposition here for Fear. Just a lot of cards for Handy. And again, he's 3 Reflector Mages through. He's 3 Collected Companies through. His deck is starting to run out of some of the marquee cards here. And Handy's deck is chock full still of Reflector Mages and Collected Companies.
Yep. And it's not like Emma Handy's life total is really under duress. 17.
Right. She's got a very, very solid board position here, and it feels right now like she's winning the card advantage battle as well. And she might be able to pivot pretty quickly and kill Harlan because he's also at 11. And this deck can turn around and start applying a lot of pressure very quickly.
Now Tamiyo targeted 2 of Harlan's Reflector Mages. Those are the ones that are upside down. So if those deal combat damage, Emma draws cards. So what this effectively does, it says, is those can't attack. Suppose if Harlan really wants to, he can.
It's a huge cost. Emma will get a lot of cards when it's all said and done out of this Tamiyo.
So Tamiyo Field Researcher starting to flex its muscles on this game. First time we've seen it all weekend long. Is it a way to break open the Bat Company mirror? Well, we're going to find out.
It does have some issues with the way that it lines up with Spell Queller and Negate and a couple other popular post-board cards. But as we mentioned at the beginning, this is a way to break a stalemate when everyone is kind of banging around with similarly sized creatures. And you're seeing Handy right now generate a huge advantage, already up 2 cards, Planeswalker still in play, and its presence is making it very hard for Harlan to engage in combat.
Tireless Tracker comes down, another clue. 3 of them out there on the battlefield for Fear, to go along with 3 Reflector Mages, 2 of which have been targeted by Tamiyo, a Nissa Vastwood Seer, which hasn't transformed just yet, and that Tireless Tracker, which is currently a 3/2 but looking to grow. These are the games that you got to know how to navigate, because this is going to happen a lot, especially in the mirror. Got to be comfortable doing this. You know, one player I think of who proof they were really comfortable doing this was at our Invitational was Craig Krempels. Won some really long Band Company mirrors over the course of that tournament. Ended up getting second place at that Season 1 Invitational, falling just a little bit short to Max McFeety playing humans. But if Band Company is going to kind of be running around like this, that should be a pretty good format for Craig.
Is he casting Baltimore or is he battling?
Potentially battling.
Yeah.
Potentially battling. To see if he wants to come on down from the Jersey Shore.
He's from North Jersey. He's
The
not from
Jersey Shore. It's all the same to me.
He's nowhere near the shore.
Jace will transform. 5 counters for the Telepath Unbound. Nissa, Sage Animus with 1 counter. Tamio, Field Researcher with 2. And then you've got a Shia, the 4/4 Elemental from Nissa on the battlefield, along with the Tireless Tracker. Now here's a Duskwatch Recruiter for Emma Handy. A land, which means that Handy will get a clue from the Tireless Tracker. Nissa will go up. Time to reveal Reflector Mage. That'll go to the grip.
And now Handy can plus the Tamio on, say, her token and the Tireless Tracker, attack with just the token, and Harlan is squeezed yet again.
Going to target Tireless Tracker and Reflector Mage.
Okay, it looks like, yeah, I guess she's just committed to slowing the game down here.
Yep. The thing about Tamio that I think is just really interesting is there are about a million ways to use that card.
Yep.
Here's Reflector Mage. Spell Queller. Ooh, and look at the way that, look at the way that Handy's mana is tapped. Got green Prairie Stream, so can't Spell Queller back right now. That's pretty tough.
I'm not even positive she would want to Spell Queller back in that spot.
Big draw there for Fear. We talked about Archangel Avacyn and the fact that he had put him on the bottom. Well, he did get the opportunity to shuffle with the Nissa Vathwoods here, and now he's drawn it. So here is Nissa. It's going to transform. But the more important thing is that the previous form of Nissa allowed a transformation. Now here's a Bounding Crisis. That'll tap something down. You see this battlefield starting to get real cluttered up. But it did tap the Spell Queller. Now permanents are upside down and all around. Reflector Mages have been targeted by Jaces and Tamios and stuff, so none of them are particularly good this turn. Nissa. It's going to go down, it looks like. Here's a Sylvan Advocate. Now Harlan's going to turn his permanents back the right way. And Reflector Mage the draw. Nissa's going to go up. Looks like a Jace is the reveal. But Handy already has one of those, so that's not the end of the world.
Now the question that I have is, does Handy just try to build towards a Jace emblem?
Maybe.
The game is pretty sloppy right now. She has a lot of tools to defend herself, but it's hard for her to push forward in combat. But it looks possible here that she could build towards that ultimate.
Reflector Mage came down, bounced the Spell Queller to get the Reflector Mage back. Now Reflector Mage is going to bounce Sylvan Advocate. But I'm not convinced there are any good attacks to be had here. Tamio is going to use, I believe, its minus ability.
Oh, I guess Handy is getting aggressive here.
Yep. Slow this down. She wants to get aggressive. And Harlan's life total is low enough to make it seem like a good idea, but this is the problem.
Yep.
It's Archangel Avacyn.
That is really bad news for this line.
And the same card that Emma Handy used to win game number 1 might be the card that beats her in game number 3, as Harlan Fear found one last turn. So you'll get your trigger to give all your creatures indestructible, and now it's time for Fear to make the appropriate blocks. Tireless Tracker, double blocking there on the Ashaya with both the Reflector Mages, and the Reflector Mage that was targeted by Jace can comfortably get in front of Bounding Crisis. There's a Jace. Yavimaya Coast. No clue to be given because Tireless Tracker is no longer on the battlefield. And now those creatures do stay tapped. It's a Frost Breath. is the easiest way to relate what Tamiyo does to those two creatures.
Like the reference.
Thank you. Thank you.
I would have gone with Blinding Beam.
Well, but that doesn't tap the whole squad.
Right. Well, it locks the already tapped things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Blinding Beam is unbeatable, where Frost Breath is somewhat beatable.
Yeah.
So, Archangel Avacyn takes care of Tamiyo. This is a Sylvan Advocate. Let's try actually this, because Sylvan Advocate was bounced via Reflector Mage. So, how about Lambholt Pacifist instead? Some other 2-mana Knucklehead, all right?
Just another thing.
Yep. All we have are things. I just need a flyer now to stop your flying thing. Crack a clue. Clack another crew.
Crook Claw. Whatever.
Somebody want a Crook Claw Transmuter?
Crook Claw Transmuter.
Yeah. Nissa going up. Take a look. Ha-ha! That card is in her deck. Collected Company.
Can't miss it forever.
No. I don't even know what the best find is, though. There's a land for turn. Here's a company. Queller it. Queller your Queller. How?
If they were going to make a ubiquitous standard level card like Spell Queller, I wish it wasn't a tongue twister to say.
Spell Queller?
Yeah.
Ah, it's easy. That rolls right off.
So
Easy for me, at least.
the card is in her deck, but she simply misses with it.
Ah, nice. That's really good. Just hit only a Reflector Mage, it appears, to bounce the Archangel Avacyn. I might be on to what I might be smelling what you're cooking here.
The Jace emblem?
Yeah, I might be smelling it.
That's what I'm in the market for.
Yeah? When a game bogs down like this, you think turn to their library?
Yep. Punish him for all the cards he's drawn, all the collected companies he's cast.
Yeah.
You know?
If you can hold off that flyer long enough.
It only takes a chump block, and then you're there.
Yeah. Jamoka's Command has been found off of sacrificing them their clues, so Harlan Fear is going to untap all his permanents and draw a card. Plains. Looks like Harlan's turn 0.
I think it's still within range for either of these players to get to a kill.
Gonna be tough.
Going to be tough. I think still possible. Not necessarily a draw here.
Archangel Avacyn. Reflector Maged. Cannot do that. Here's Sylvan Advocate. Nissa plus Jamoka's Command. Harlan's got 2 of those in his hand now. What just gets weird about this, it's like, I don't even know how good Jamoka's Command is in spots like this. I mean, it can't be bad, but this whole entire game is just so bogged down.
And Handy has a life total that's conducive to double blocking. It's not like she has to block even to preserve her life total and then get blown out by Jamoka's Command. She can be conservative and just double block on things and take some damage.
This whole game is just a mess. But what it looks to be revolving around is Jace Telepath Unbound now. And perhaps this counter and this emblem is the way to go. Now it's -9, so not there yet. Got to get there next turn, does Emma Handy, as it's turn number 1. Now here's Archangel Avacyn in the upkeep. All right, that's fine. Here's Jamoka's Command. Remember, the trigger's resolved, so everything's indestructible. This is very favorable for Harlan Fear.
Well, he might be stacking the trigger here and using Jamoka's Command to fight, let's say, Lambholt Pacifist against Bounding Krasis to try to get the Avacyn trigger next turn.
Just to wipe everything out?
Yeah. I mean, look at Handy's board. It's all 3 toughness threats.
That's true.
The trigger is worth a lot here.
Yeah, well, Reflector Mage died. So that's on the table now. And it is all 3 it is all 3 toughness or less threats. Oh boy. Well, found an Archangel Avison.
Hold that thought.
Yep.
Hold that thought.
That might be off the table now, folks. Plus the Archangel Avison. And now, here's a Sylvan Advocate. Turn 2. Archangel Avison is upside down because it was targeted by Jace. Here's Archangel Avison on the upkeep by Emma Handy. Harlan says, I'm going to draw a card, put a counter on my tracker. And it might be, oh, it's Tameo? That might be good. Maybe.
He also can keep sacrificing clues here, trying to find Ojutai's command, potentially.
Yep.
If there's any in this deck.
Deck a clue, draw a card. Fun Mage.
Yep.
Super interactive, fun Mage.
It is interactive. Your opponent had a card. It's like Stone Rain's interactive. They had a thing. They had a thing and they don't anymore.
Yeah. Let's see what's going to happen next. I think Harlan may have found just some perfect cards there. Avison resolved, trigger on the stack. Is it Dromoka's command? Yes, it is. But how will it be done? A Lambhold Pacifist, put a counter on it, and fight Avison. Activate Jace. Picked up a Lumbering Falls. That can lumber its way onto the graveyard. Transform Jace. Yep, don't have any interest in that one. All right, Avison down. Now Harlan's Avison will transform. It's going to deal 3 damage to everything. That means Harlan's going to lose some stuff. Actually, just going to lose a Reflector Mage.
Yep. Emma is catching the bad end of this.
Yeah. Well, is she? No, because her Archangel Avison resolved.
Oh, yeah. She
Yeah, so
still has
her stuff's indestructible.
Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't catch the bad end of it at all. Lumbering Falls to draw here for Harlan Fear. Her side of it's actually pretty gosh darn good. The question is, can she continue to defend the Jace? Because he dealt 3 to her.
Yeah, I don't think Harlan has concerns about the emblem killing him inside of turns. I think he's just trying to kill Emma because I don't think he believes Emma can kill him.
I'd be pretty worried about it. Here's Tameo. Starts on 4, going to go down to 2. Okay, he's not typing a spell queller. It's very clear he does not care about the emblem. Recruiter activation. Reflector, maybe? Yep. All right. Turn 3. Draw a card. Yeah, those should stay tapped because of the Tameo.
A lot of tracking to go on in this game.
Just a touch.
Werewolves, Tameo.
Yeah, super easy.
Delayed triggers that trigger on the following turn.
Yeah. I want 28 cards.
All right.
I want an emblem. Yeah, how the heck else are you going to win?
Again, she's not really at risk of getting killed, I'm fairly confident.
It seems that way.
Especially with picking up a Reflector Mage.
Yeah, there's a clue. There's a Tireless Tracker in there somewhere. Yeah, I see it. It's tapped. Plus the Nissa. Tireless Tracker.
curious, if Harlan's plan here was to play for the draw, then I'm surprised he didn't try to shrink the Jace down, because there is some risk.
Yeah.
I guess Emma doesn't feel like she has the resources to try to go for it, because she's just plussing again rather than making the emblem.
Here's Reflector Mage. Bounce Tireless Tracker.
And she could be setting up lethal of her own, I suppose.
I suppose.
She's got this turn and next.
Yeah? I don't know. It felt like it with 28 cards, Harlan's going to go down to 27 by drawing a card. That's 6 spells it takes them to turn it over.
But the problem is that she has the last turn on 5, so it doesn't even go. He doesn't even lose the game.
Yep, that's the problem. You're right. You are right.
At this point, Harlan can minus the Tamiyo, play his new Tamiyo, minus again, and I would assume get out of turn 5 alive, locking down 4 potential attackers. I would imagine is good enough here, on top of all the blocking he can do.
What do you think? Maybe another Band Company mirror next round?
Seems likely.
You're totally in. Get another one of these on. Green-White Devotion-esque. These games are just a mess. Here's Reflector Mage.
This is the first one that's really taken this kind of characteristic.
Oh, for sure.
Some of them have, kind of grinded to a halt and been about the first person to find a trump. This is the first game that we've had that's just a jumble of stuff.
Yeah. Spellqueller is going to get bounced. So that means the Spellqueller will resolve on Harlan's side. Emma can't play hers for the moment. Not timed Tamiyo yet. There we go. This card's definitely good.
Yep.
It's weird and kind of hard to use, I think, because it leads to pretty unconventional game states, but like theoretically, six creatures could be tapped.
Yeah.
Right now. 4 of which would not be untapping the next turn. And I think that's worth something.
Yeah, I think that Harlan is not going to be able to get it done this turn, though.
I don't
would
think
be
so
my
either.
guess.
Yeah, I think he's got to play for a draw. There's Prairie Stream. It almost gets to the point now, too, where it's like you don't even know what you can attack with or block with because the game state's so confusing. Archangel Avacyn's the find. Cast that.
It feels like I made an Alpha Strike and got killed because of a trick seems way more likely than I found some sweet line of attack and won the game on turn 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So both players have this incentive to be very passive here and just let the clock run out.
I was trying to figure out if there's a way that you can attack for lethal. Plus here, Duskwatch Recruiter. I think if there was enough time left, you'd go the mill route.
Oh, at this point, I think I would not be surprised if Emma could just nuke his deck this turn by making an emblem and just casting a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I think that she would have the ability to do that. Like you emblem, you play Nissa and every other spell that you have because I think you have enough mana to do so. I think would be what we would see in other circumstances. There's land for the turn. Transform. Get your new Nissa. Plus Sylvan Advocate. Draw a card. I don't know if she's looking for something in particular or not.
I'm trying to think, is there some way for her to deck him and then force him to draw a card with Tamiyo somehow?
Okay.
Yeah, I doubt that's something that can happen here, but that's the route that I can see in turn 5.
Yeah. Got a flashback Collected Company. Yeah. Yeah, nope. It's going to be a draw. So I'm a handy Harlan Fear. They played a very, very long one. No winner, no loser. Just going to add a 1 to their record. 6-0-1 here for each player. That's what these Bad Company mirrors look like. That's part of the reason that people ended up moving towards Eldrazi Displacer.